JMV at 1070thefan.com. JMV. Now, the day that Bob Sanders was released, I told a coworker of mine that he probably wouldn't land with the Jets. The Jets are starting to become the Raiders of the East. They pick up players that other teams don't want any longer. Personally, I don't care where Sanders ends up because unless the Colts play the team he is on in Week 1, he will be out with an injury by the time the Colts might get a matchup with that particular team. If the Colts do play against a team he is on, then put a good hit on him and he's out for the game with no common ground, with no deal to be cut. There are so many more questions than we can simply just sit here and start talking about, wow, what about Team A and Team B? Once all this, and it sure as hell better, gets ironed out. Once all this gets ironed out, and we can absolutely begin to focus on the year and on the Colts. Right now, maybe we don't understand it because it's the so-called off-season, but the amount of pressure that's going to be on that football team is going to be immense. Once everything is in line, once a deal is done, once we know the Super Bowl is going to be here, the amount of pressure that's going to be on that team, get ready for it. Absolutely get ready for it. For example, and mostly because it was put on by its owner, Jerry Jones, in Dallas. But think about the pressure that Dallas succumbed to early in the season with the bad football. It was only after the jettison of Wade Phillips and Jason Garrett taking over that this team, or that team I should say, in Dallas, got into gear. Be the NFC representation in their hometown Super Bowl. Well, that's what's going to be here, so get ready. And then you have the added Jim Caldwell factor, and most of you are anti right now, coming off of last season. Most of you believe he has something major to prove. So catch my drift. More and more, that thing is going to rip wide open. But, right now we're just in such limbo. Because you hear both sides, and television revenue, and D. Smith, and what the NFL team, what the owners want, and DC meetings. I was looking at that this morning. When I found out this kid, Brandon Davies, was suspended for the rest of the season. 11 points and nearly 6.5 boards per game, which leads BYU. Knowing that they suspended him at this point of the season, with what is on the line, there's no doubt they have their priorities straight. But I looked at that honor code, and I know that you sign and you know what you're getting into when you go, but doesn't it make you look at that team a little bit differently and think, these just aren't your average high school kids? Some may be older. I should say college kids. Some may be older, but wow.
No, the guy that faked his P test.
You're the you're straight-laced Alex P. Keaton. If Alex P. Keaton were a linebacker
some people,
at Franklin College, that's you.
Some people have called me the Opie Taylor of Opie Taylor.
Yeah, I'm going to give you Alex P. because you're also, I'm not saying that Opie's not intelligent, but Alex P. Keaton, smart, conservative, right?
Yeah, I'm not conservative.
I'm not saying that politically speaking you're conservative. Okay. I'm saying that you're a conservative 20-something. Much more conservative than Charlie in my 20s.
Than Charlie Sheen.
Because I was a knucklehead, yeah. I was an absolute knucklehead. JMV, after watching Jansen have an outstanding year that elevated his game even more during this brutal stretch, I find it amazing he's not being talked about for National Player of the Year. Well, there's no doubt he should be.